Hi everyone, it's Rax bringing you one of the most important topics in Diablo 3 and probably the most misunderstood thing for new players about powering up your character, how to properly augment. I've compiled a list of the questions that I get asked over and over and over all the time. We're going to compile it in one video, and I promise you at the end of this, you're going to completely understand augments. And I want you to hold up your right hand and say, Rax, I solemnly swear to always augment my character right at the beginning of the season. I'm going to show you exactly why. So let's start off with the complete basics. What is an augment? When you're playing Diablo 3 and you get Kanai's cube, you should know what that is. If you don't know, check out my leveling guide. The very last recipe is called Kaldazan's Despair. Augment an ancient item. This is where the word augment comes from. So, I'm about to say some really complicated stuff, but then I'll explain it, then it will be very simple. You need an ancient item. Okay, well, like my gloves, I guess. Need a legendary gem. Okay, well, let's say this Bane of the Trapped was here. You need three copies of a flawless royal, either amethyst, emerald, ruby, or topaz. And then you would throw all that in the cube and you would transmute it. And that would destroy the 3 emeralds, or whatever you were using. It would destroy the legendary gem, and it would add Kaldazan's Despair to the ancient item. It would take the level of the legendary gem, multiply it by 5, and it would add that much main stat permanently to your item. If you look at these gloves at the bottom, plus 650 dex from Kaldazan's Despair 130, you can tell that I leveled up some legendary gem to 130, and then I used this recipe to permanently add 130 times 5, carry the 9 square root absolute value times pi, 650 dex. Okay? What you want to do is you want to find ancients, and then you want to aug them right away. So, the first question I usually get asked is, all right, Rax, I believe you. You want me to augment my character. I have these legendary gems that you want me to level up, okay, for augs. Okay, I'll destroy my wildebeest and then my gogok and then my teguk. Fine. Should I level up my augment gems first, or should I level up my main gems that my character uses? And the answer for always is level up your main gems first. These leveling up, whatever you're using for your build, Teguk, Traps, Stricken, Simplicities, whatever it is way more important than augments. Never prioritize an augment gem over your main gem. But the moment your main gems are as high as you can reasonably bring them, then you will immediately start leveling up the augment gems. That's what comes next. So the next question I get asked is, okay, I'm going to level up the legendary gems for my augments. Which gem should I use? The answer is you can use any of them. It makes no difference, except you want to use a gem that can be leveled all the way to 150. All of these can't level to 150. Ice Blink can't, Esoteric can't, Legacy of Dreams can't, Boon of the Hoarder can't. I'm not sure if Mutilation Guard can. Can Mutilation Guard go to 150? Esoteric can't, it's already there. These would be bad choices. Can't remember on Mutilation Guard, I never used this gem. But Teguk, Gogok, Wildebeest, Stricken, Genovese, Boyarskis, Moratorium, Enforcer, Simplicities, Bane of the Powerful, Toxin, all of those would be perfectly fine. So, next question is, all right, I leveled up some gems. When should I augment? You should augment immediately. When you have an ancient item, your main gems are leveled up, and you have a gem ready to go to augment immediately. Okay, but Rax, I'm making multiple characters. Which character should I augment on first? You should augment whichever character you're using to do speed greater rifts. Speed greater rifts is what you should be doing all the time. Gives you the most XP, the most gem ups for augments, the most items, the most blood shards, everything. Whatever character you're using, For speed greater-ifs, that's who you should augment first. So then it's, what level of gem should I augment at? And the answer is, you should level them up as high as you reasonably can. Give you an example. When I started this season, I could reasonably get them up to about 100 or 110 without suffering, doing like 5-minute clears or something. And that was fine for me. So I augmented my character with 100s. So then the next question becomes, well, if I find something really good and I put a 100 augment on it, can I put a new augment on it later? And the answer is yes. If you have an item with an augment on it, and you do the recipe on that item, you will re-aug it. You will erase the old one and replace it with whatever the new stat that you have is. And then the question is, when should I re-aug, if ever? I would not recommend re-auging ever unless you're gaining at least 20 levels. So if you have your character fully auged with 100s, and then you get them all, you get a new set of augs to 110s, should you re-aug your character? No. Honestly, I wouldn't even do it at 120s. I would say I would not re-aug your character unless you're getting like 25 to 30 levels on the gem. It will help you. It's just not that big of a deal, and it's just not worth it in my opinion. Then comes another good question. Which piece should I augment first? I got, let's say, the only 2 ancients I have are my chest and my bracers. All the rest of them are non-ancient. So these are the only 2 that I can aug. Which one should I aug first? The answer is, you should always aug the piece that's going to take you the longest time to replace, or has the lowest likelihood of you finding an upgrade quickly. So let's compare my chest to my bracers, for example. So if I hold control, I can see the ranges that this rolls on. This chest piece is absolute dynamite. It's amazing. It's got a decent dex roll, not the best vite roll, but I was able to roll 11% reduced damage from elites, which is incredible. And it came with reduced damage from range by 7 and 11 maximum discipline already on it. This chest piece is amazing. The only way I'm going to get a better one is if it has a little bit more dex and a little bit more vite, and I guess 12 max discipline. It's almost impossible to improve this chest piece. When I go over here to the Wraps of Clarity, these are pretty good too. I got the 20 cold on there that I want. I only have 5.5 crit instead of 6. I could fix that one day. But the real thing that's hurting me on these Wraps of Clarity is they're 44% out of 50. That is not ideal. I will want a better pair when I'm going for rank 1 later. So this pair of bracers, to me, is easier to replace than this chest piece. So this is my best piece, so I would augment this one first. Augment the piece of gear that you think is the hardest to replace or is the closest to perfect first. So then the question becomes, all right, Rax, I got an extreme case for you. Let's say you have a beautiful chest piece, and let's say this Wraps of Clarity is ancient, but it sucks. It's got a terrible cold roll on it. It only has 4.5 crit, and it's 40%, and you want it to be 50. Would I still augment this at the beginning? And the answer is absolutely. Remember, Rax, I solemnly swear that I will augment my gear right in the beginning. If it's your last ancient and you have an augment ready to go, augment it. I cannot tell you how much of an advantage having that plus 600 dex does for you, or whatever value it is for whatever you currently are at. It gives you a tremendous damage increase, but remember, it also gives you a tremendous survivability increase. Every point of dexterity is also armor. Same with strength, and if you're an int class, every point of intelligence is all resist. It's not just about damage. It will also keep you alive. You will be able to do several higher greater if tiers faster at a more comfortable pace if you augment your character. You must augment your character immediately. So now here comes the question. Okay, Rax, I see you always have these like duplicate gems. How did you do that? How do you have duplicates? It's very, very simple. You can trick Diablo very easily. You pick any gem that you have one of. Moratorium. Sure, I want to make 1,000,000 of them. Do I have any greater rift keys? Of course not. That would have been helpful. So anyway, here's what you do. When you complete a greater rift, the game will check if you have a moratorium. If you have one already, it won't drop. But if you don't have a moratorium, a new one will drop, so you can have one. So how can we trick Diablo 3 into thinking that we don't have a moratorium when we actually do? And this is a sacred technique only known to the Mayans. Drop it on the ground. Drop it on the ground and do a greater rift. At the end, Diablo is going to say, oh, Rax doesn't have a moratorium. Here, Rax, have a moratorium at the end of my greater rift. We'll pretend that this is a moratorium. Okay, I'm done with my greater rift. I come out. I close it. You're never going to believe the next thing I'm about to do. Watch this. Watch closely. I would throw my second moratorium also on the ground. 2 moratoriums on the ground. Do another greater rift. Guess what? Diablo still doesn't think that you have one. Thank you very much for my 3rd moratorium. Yep, you already know. Boom. 3 moratoriums on the ground, never before seen for the past 1,000 years. You can do this as many times as you want, just don't disconnect. Pick up your 10 moratoriums, throw them in your stash. That's how I have 3 Boyarski's chips right here. So, the next question is, all right, Rax, that's fine. I understand that I need to augment instantly. I found a couple ancients. All right, I leveled my main gems. I leveled my aug gems. I have 10 Boyarski's chips. Guess what, Rax? I don't have enough gems. Thanks for your advice, but I don't have enough gems. And even if I did have enough gems, look, they're all scattered about, and I only need emeralds to augment my demon hunter, and I don't have any emeralds. Nope. I got you there. So, grab your follower. Let's grab the enchantress here. Give them a broken crown. Whenever a gem drops, a gem of the type socketed into your helmet also drops. That counts for whatever you have socketed, not what they have socketed. It makes no difference. You can put anything in, so just use a diamond. Don't worry about it. But Rax, I need emeralds. Don't worry about it. Trust. So what you do is, whenever you get a puzzle ring, and you'll get them, throw it into the cube. Boop. Now, this is a regular puzzle ring. So regular puzzle rings normally drop garbage, but look at how many gems I'm going to get because I have a broken crown. And hopefully we get a gem goblin here. Gilded Baron, of course, worst goblin we could have got. Come on, gem hoarder. There we go, gem hoarder, easy game. Boom, look at all those gems. Okay, blood thief, don't want that. Okay, we pick up all the gems. Now, if you want to, you can kill greed, but I don't kill greed. I don't need greeds like 3 or 4 legendaries. You can if you want. But look, even in all these pots right here, got 1,000,000 gems. And there we go. That's one way to get gems very, very easily. Another thing you can do is just do T16 rifts, again with a broken crown on your follower, and you'll be good. Okay, Rax, but you did not tell me how to get emeralds. Any gem can be converted to any other gem whenever you want. It's very easy. All you do is go to Act 2. You go to Squirt. Go to Miscellaneous, and whatever gem you want to convert anything into, you can do it with recipe 6, I believe, in the cube. So if we need emeralds, we need 9 of a specific gem. So let's say we want to convert anything. Amethysts almost never have any use. Okay, so we go here, go over to amethysts, and you can convert them at any tier. I could convert it right now at Imperial, but don't do that. That takes a lot of time and costs a lot of money. Instead, craft it up. Craft 81, and then 27, or however many you've got. If you have less, that's okay. Just make sure you have at least 9. You got to have at least 9 of whatever tier you're converting. Okay, here we go. We go to the cube, and we're going to look at recipe 6, I believe. 6, 6. 9 of any gem, and the essence that you want to convert them to. Boom. Even though every gem isn't literally an emerald, every gem metaphorically can be an emerald. And there we go. Now I got tons and tons of gems to augment my character with. Okay, so Rax, okay, fine. That's fine. Show me how to augment. Okay, I'll show you. My demon hunter's good, so let's go over to our monk. And let's do an augment. So, we need a gem that we've leveled up really high that we want to destroy. 130 is pretty high. Let's destroy this Teguk. Then we need 3 of whatever gem that I want to apply the main stat of. A ruby would give us strength. An emerald would give us dex. A topaz would give us intelligence. And an amethyst would give us vitality. You can't use diamonds. What you want to use on your character, any damage-dealing character, is whichever thing gives you more damage. So, for example, demon hunters and monks would always aug with dexterity from emeralds. And crusaders and barbs would always aug with rubies from strength. And witch doctors, necros, and wizards would always aug with topaz. Simple. That's the only rule you have to follow. And if you forgot which one your class is, just open the Paragon tree. Whatever the thing is here, that's what you need. We need dexterity. Okay, rubies give strength. I don't want that. Topazes give intelligence. I don't want that. Emeralds give dexterity. Beautiful. All right, so now let's apply what we've learned here. I will aug the ancient item that is my best one and hardest to replace. Let's just take a look. This Crystal Fist is pretty good. It's pretty good, but it's missing 100 top end and it has vitality on it. I don't want vitality on my Crystal Fist. Even though I'm playing hardcore, I'm just going to play like a psycho and try to get damage. So that's not the best. These Crutus boots are 188 out of 200. That's not too bad. They have the rolls that I want. The dex is a little bit low. That's not too bad. Jade Talon. This Jade Talon has very poor damage. It's got decent passives, but I want to push with a Bartux, I think, not a Jade Talon. So that's not an ideal candidate. This is already auged, so let's skip that. See at the bottom, 625 dex. We already auged this one. This Compass Rose has strength on it. Wow, I need to find a new Compass Rose. I'm playing a monk here. This belt is pretty good. This belt is pretty good. It's only missing like 70 dex. And it's even got pickup on it. So this is a super great candidate for my next aug. Not bad. It's actually not bad at all. Maybe average damage would be better than the dex at really high Paragon values, but that's pretty good as well. Pretty good. Missing 150 dex. That's kind of a lot. It's also not quad. It doesn't have CDR on it, cooldown reduction. This is not ancient. I cannot aug it. Oh, well, that makes it easy. Pretty good. Missing 150 dex. Got a fire resistance as a secondary. This cannot be auged. And this is pretty good. It doesn't have 6 crit. So maybe let's go with the belt. This belt is looking pretty juicy. It's going to be hard to replace this one. I could pick up 70 dex and 1 pickup. Other than that, it's a pretty good candidate. Throw the belt in there. throw the legendary gem in there, and throw 3 of the highest stat of a gem. Sayonara. See our damage went up, see our dexterity went up, and look at that, 650 extra dex. It's beautiful. So now let's have some fun here. Let's say that we don't have any augs in, and we do like 4,600 or 4.6 million damage in our sheet. Now, granted, you probably won't actually have 10,000 dex on your character just starting out. So your damage would actually be a little bit lower there. So actually, for your character, it's going to be more extreme than these results are going to show. But I took out all my dex to kind of simulate what would happen if you augmented your character, essentially. So if this was a non-auged character, if you fully aug your character, let's say with 500s, you get 13 of them, you would get 6,500 dex. Right? 6,500 more. So we go from 4.6 to, let's add 6.5, if you auged with 100s. I just gained 3 million sheet damage. I almost doubled my damage. I almost Jay Wilsoned it. And yours would probably double, if not more than double, because my gear is pretty good, right? My gear is really good, so my dex is higher than someone's would normally be, which decreases the value of an augment, which means it would be even more valuable for you. And it's not just the damage. Look at the toughness. We're at 80 million now. If I take this out, 59 million. I'm going to get murdered now. I do no damage, and I'm going to get murdered. That sounds terrible. That would be time to install PoE, right? So, I hope that this video has answered all of your questions. As I quickly glance over, I wrote down a list of questions to make sure that I answered them all. I hope that this has explained everything about augmenting. If you have not been augmenting your character in the game, this is why you might see a streamer, see my Demon Hunter with 12 million sheet damage, and you might be doing 2 and crying. I would be crying too if I didn't have any augments. Remember, main gems, augments, your best ancients first. If you run out of good ancients and you got bad ancients, Rax, do I have to augment it? Yes, augment it immediately. I solemnly swear I will augment my character. Which character do you augment? Augment whoever you're doing speed greater rifts with. So you can get more Paragon levels, more augment gems for all of your pushing gear later on. I hope that this video helps you. Please, please take augmenting seriously. If you haven't been doing it, make a goal to augment every single one of your ancients, and I want you to report back on your findings on how much more you're dominating because of it. It's the most important thing that you absolutely must do. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.